Welcome back to DHN. I'm your host as always, Wade Teamer. We have a pretty pressing issue to discuss in this one, folks. A stablecoin explosion is potentially right around the corner. Why do I say that? Well, as of June 30th, 2024, from that day forward, stablecoins will be regulated in the European Economic Area. Now, I know you're asking, what the heck does that have to do with me or any of the coins that I'm holding? We'll see. Behind the scenes and in the weeds, a lot of the assets, a lot of the altcoins that we've been holding on to have been building relationships in the European Union for quite some time. They had knowledge that MiCA was right around the corner, and folks, we're here. We are in the age of MiCA. Now, MiCA is Europe's digital asset regulation, guidelines, definition, whatever you want to call it. It's a regulatory framework that we have yet to adopt here in the United States. Europe's already ahead of the curve, and now the market is starting to respond. Now, we're getting this news from Binance because that's the headline in the last 24 hours. Binance is quote unquote delisting stablecoins that do not fall under MiCA's rules. Binance has come out and stated, no, what we're doing is separating regulated stablecoins, which fall under MiCA, from unauthorized stablecoins, which do not. And they go in to explain that in more detail in this post. And that's what I'm going to share with you in this episode, folks. And we're also going to take a look at the European stablecoin landscape because it's very small, very nascent. But you're going to be surprised to find out that we've had our eyes on the right assets this whole time, guys. So we're going to go through some altcoins and look at which ones are already holding an euro-backed stablecoin. Look at some numbers, things like that. So let's dive into this. How will MiCA impact you as a user? So, like I mentioned in the beginning, from June 30th, 2024, stablecoins will be regulated in the EEA, European Economic Area, which means in practice that only certain regulated companies will be able to issue and offer to the public stablecoins. These will be the regulated stablecoins. Several existing stablecoins may not fall into this category and will therefore be subject to certain restrictions. These will be categorized as unauthorized stablecoins. Now, to that point, a big talking point right now is the status of Tether's reserves and if they're actually backed by what they say they are backed by. Now, I'm not going to right here in this moment put forth a position how I feel on that, but I remember when the New York Attorney General originally went after Tether and the reason they went after Tether. That stuff really wasn't tied up, folks. It's been almost 2 years. Now, how this is going to work from the perspective of stablecoin issuers is what has my attention and what I believe, what lends to my hypothesis that this could potentially benefit a lot of the altcoins we've had our eyes on. Now, according to MiCA, what are these new rules going to be? It requires that certain stablecoin activities be undertaken only by electronic money institutions. That is a very key term. Electronic money institutions. It's going to pop up again in just a second. Outside of that, credit institutions, or more simply, banks in the EU. In essence, this means that in the European Economic Area only, e-money institutions, electronic money institutions, and banks will be able to issue and mint stablecoins, communicate offers to encourage the purchase of stablecoins or promote said stablecoin products, or ask trading platforms to list their stablecoins. So the relationship between an Uphold, a Coinbase, or a Kraken and an EU verified stablecoin issuer. So that's the landscape. That's the playing field right now. That's what we're looking at. So the key points to pay attention to are which assets have stablecoins operating in the European Economic Area, and they are also licensed electronic money institutions. Well, let's take a look at some of them, shall we? here's a snapshot of the centralized euro stablecoin landscape as of Q4 of 2023. You can see right at the top, Circle and their Euro C stablecoin product. And notice how their headquarters is right in the epicenter, Paris, France. They're followed by Stasis with a $39 million market cap. Tether comes in third with their Euro Tether product at 36 million, based in Hong Kong though. That's going to be key. And you'll also notice regulatory standing does not have one, right? Very key. And then going back up a bit, backtracking a second to Circle's Euro C, they're currently applying for that EMI. Now, we're going to touch on Circle in just a second, but let's finish this out here. Monerium, $12.5 million market cap, MiCA compliant Icelandic e-money institution. So now we have to keep our eyes on who's going to work with Monerium. Because the thing you need to keep in mind here is that now that these stable coins have legal clearance, there's going to be an increased amount of demand for them. And there may be an opportunity where some of the assets that we're holding can lend some power, some transactions, some payment rails to their stablecoin product. We've been watching it unfold for a number of years, folks. That's why I was going crazy about global stablecoin arrangements. That's why every new stablecoin that hits one of our chains, I'm the first to report on it, because these stablecoins are literally the closest step to replacing the dollar that's going to bring everyone into this market. So it only made sense. Now, going down the list, Societe Generale, that's a very interesting one. You'll never believe who they actually work with. It was Tezos. I remember this, 2021, they launched a stablecoin product, a pretty deep DeFi stablecoin product on Tezos. Curious to see if that's still in operation, but if it is, it's about to receive a boost. Now we got one more, Membrane Finance with a $1.7 million market cap. But notice their regulatory standing. MiCA compliant Finnish e-money institution. They're also audited by KPMG, which is a huge firm. But Membrane Finance, it immediately rang a bell. Where have I heard that name before? Well, August of 2023, Membrane Finance launches Euro stablecoin on the Solana blockchain, guys. And then here is now where we're about to start running down the list of assets that I discovered who have already been put in this position to support the euro-backed stablecoins. Now, the key thing to remember is that with MiCA, under the MiCA regulation, these stablecoins have to be managed a certain way. Your asset reserves have to be public. It also has to be fully backed with euros, not necessarily any other alternatives. And if you do have alternatives, the majority has to be backed by euros. Now, some issuers are taking different options, but according to the regulations, that's the way it has to be. And that also gives us a guide as to seeing which stablecoin issuers on which chains are the ones that are in the best position. Reading the details from this arrangement, the EUROE, Euro stablecoin, which is compliant with MiCA, converts traditional fiat euros into digital currency on the blockchain. It can be generated and redeemed one-to-one without fees, accessible to EUROE account holders. The stablecoin is backed by 100% cash reserves protected against bankruptcy and 2% CET1 equity capital in European financial institutions or banks. Yeah, you can best believe that that's exactly what they wanted to hear. So, Solana has been all over the place. It wasn't on the thumbnail, but guys, when I was putting this information together, it popped up last minute, so we started there. Going forward, though, let's not forget about our friend, the big A, Algo Technologies. Let's get it right now. It's no longer just called Algo. Check their socials. They're Algo Technologies. But I was fishing through the ecosystem. And yes, Algo has a number of stablecoin offerings. They have a number of decentralized exchange offerings. They actually have a few more video games, Web3 games that came out. That's shocking. But our focus is stablecoins, particularly euro-backed stablecoins. And this led me to a company called Quantos, and you see it right on their homepage. Quantos Payments introduces the EURD, the Quantos Digital Euro. It is a regulated and programmable electronic money token designed to address the lack of trusted digital euros. Its e-money license for the European Economic Area, obtained from the Dutch Central Bank, allows Quantos Payments to issue regulated digital euros on the blockchain. And can you guess which blockchain they chose? It was Algorand, and this story started back in 2022 when they received a grant from the Algorand Foundation to develop a Algorand-based peer-to-peer platform for tokenized bonds and e-money. That terminology is very important, folks, but I highlighted a key piece here that'll talk about their intentions. They say SMEs play a vital role in our economy. Unfortunately, these companies often have difficulties with getting access to external debt. Our Algorand-based solution enables tokenized bonds to be directly issued and traded for e-money. This improves many parts of the bond issuance and trading process and will help SMEs get loans. As an ISO 27001 and ISAE 3402 Type 1 certified company, the sustainability, reliability, and performance of Algorand's blockchain technology perfectly fits our product strategy. So that was the beginning of the relationship. Within 2 years' time, ladies and gentlemen, first it was the integration of Algorand into their Nexus platform. Then in November of last year, they launched the EURD on the Algorand network. On top of that, Quantos themselves officially secured their EMI license for the European Economic Area in January of this year. And it says the passporting of its electronic money institution license in the European Economic Area allows Quantos Payments to operate and offer electronic money services across the EEA member states. So real soon, what we're going to see is this EURD being listed on exchanges like Binance, as they said in the blog post, and we know Binance is the biggest exchange on the market. But this EURD, which is running on Algorand, now has the avenues to be listed on major exchanges like a Binance, like a Kraken. That's just one. You guys know I love me some Stellar. Well, was fishing through their ecosystem, guys. All you got to do is search stablecoin. First thing to pop up was my Kobo. Now, this seems to be a retail-facing product, but it says that they help families and businesses in Europe transfer value with the Euro coin, a Euro stablecoin pegged 1-to-1 with the Euro. Now, as I'm looking these up, I'm immediately checking to see if they're backed, verified, if they're following their right paper trails. And of course, my Kobo, they have their stuff together. You can see this through their framework where it says that my Kobo is committed to the prevention of money laundering and terrorist financing. This commitment is demonstrated by controls that meet industry standards. To this end, my Kobo has implemented a framework for anti-money laundering and combating the financing of terrorism. So they have their AML KYC requirements. They're running alongside Stellar. Stellar, thanks to their relationship with Circle, they already have particular inroads in Europe, and like we're going to touch on in just a minute, that Circle also has a Euro stablecoin product, the EURC, that also runs on Stellar. So there's your market. Now, I also found this though. It's from a few years ago, 2020. Bitbon and Bankhaus von de Hoyt issue Euro stablecoin on the Stellar network. Now, folks, this is one of the oldest German financial institutions on the planet. And if Franklin Templeton is okay with tokenizing on Stellar, I'm pretty sure this company has no problems doing the same thing. So when it comes to the European stablecoin market, now with these MiCA rules coming into effect, ladies and gentlemen, there are certain assets in better positions than others. That's what I'm getting at here. Now, we touched on Circle's involvement here, and you can see they were one of the ones from this snapshot that was in the process of applying for the French digital asset service provider license and the electronic money institution license. That was from August of 2023. I haven't found any headlines that states that they got that, but it says here, Euro is backed 100% by the Euro. Euro reserves are transparently held at regulated financial institutions with published monthly attestations. I'd have to research their blog site to make sure that they got that official license. But you can think of it this way. All of these rules are going to go into effect June 30th. So after that, definitely be looking out for news and announcements of stablecoin issuers receiving this license. Now you can see here, when it comes to the EURC, their Euro-backed stablecoin product, it's on Avalanche, it's on Ethereum, it's on Solana, and it's also on Stellar. And these are on-chain assets. You can tell by the token standards, Solana SPL, Stellar Asset on Stellar. So, much like with the stablecoin discussion here in the United States, folks, once it really starts kicking off, there are certain assets that are in position to perform better than others thanks to these new avenues. Now, here's another asset we haven't talked about in quite some time, but Celo, they came into the market with their stablecoin products going back to 2022, and you want to know who's supporting their European stablecoin product? None other than Dutch Telecom. They joined their ecosystem as one of their validators, as well as the supporter for the EUR stablecoin, folks. So, prior to the MiCA discussion really accelerating, hitting the right tables, getting passed by the right people, there were assets, altcoins in the space. They were building out these stablecoin products in the anticipation of things progressing and changing. It's another reason why I love crypto, folks. Now, let's not forget about another of our assets that is running a European stablecoin product. Back in 2022, do you remember when Stasis deployed the largest European stablecoin, the EURS, on the XDC network to boost Web3 payments? Well, I do. And we can take a look at the numbers, guys. Since then, this is from stasis.net, their transparency page, and you can see XDC is still in the top 3. And what I found also, you can check this out here, daily statements. This number here is legit. It's on their financial statements. I don't want to pull that up because I don't think that, should be recorded or anything like that. Something else that stood out to me, though, this Prime EU custodian. That data is new, but they control about 57%. Well, they're holding as a custodian, 57%, the rest in Lithuania. But you can see the chains here, guys. These are the ones where we're going to start seeing these numbers increase. The Ledger, XRP, Stellar, Algo, XDC. So that's my theory, hypothesis, if you will, about the impacts of these MiCA rules, folks. It's going to, now that these stablecoin issuers have legal permission to promote and offer services centered around their stablecoin, the demand is going to increase. And because that demand is increasing, chains are going to need help. Issuers are going to need help, and they're probably going to go more likely to these chains that they've already built established relationships with. Simple science, in my opinion. But with that, folks, if you want to get a hold of some of these assets, you guys already know which exchange I'm using. That's Uphold. They are a channel partner, have been for quite some time. You can trade precious metals, other fiat, as well as all of the assets that we cover on this channel. Again, if you use the link in the description, I do get compensated, so I want to thank you in advance. With that, it's time for the best part. If that money is digital, so is the hustle.